Hi, I'm Dix AstroCoach, and welcome to my in-depth look at tonight's new moon in Aquarius. Plus, I'm going to give you all the inside info for each of the zodiac signs and try not to miss out any this time like I did last time. But to start with, I thought with this new moon, because it coincides with tomorrow's Chinese New Year, I thought it would be a good idea to just start off by having a quick look at what that's about. Okay, now I'm not a Chinese astrologer, but they actually named the constellations after the animals that they see around them in their lives in the farmyard, because they felt that all the people of the land would kind of recognize and resonate with these animals. Now, tomorrow starts the year of the metal ox. So this is like the golden cow. This is really quite, I think, interesting symbol to start off the Chinese New Year with. So apparently, I did my little bit of Google research. The metal ox is going to be a year that is lucky for relationships and love. The lucky colours for this year are white, yellow and green, and they will attract luck and prosperity. And it will also be a year of being quite hardworking and diligent with relationships. So working towards forging good relationships and setting good boundaries, which is very much like Saturn, one of my big boys, the sort of the boundary element. And also, which I thought was quite interesting, the year of the ox suggests an upturn in world economy. Well, that can't be bad. Now, do I agree with that with the Western astrology? Well, actually, even though actually a lot of astrologers are not very confident about the way the world economy is going from the astrological viewpoint, and that's because one of our very big boys, Uranus, is in the sign of Taurus, and Taurus is all about money and the economy and finance, and Uranus tends to upset things and unsettle things. Well, we have seen that, but I personally, in my kind of intuitive astrological feelings, I just feel that actually the year of the ox could be telling us something positive, and that it won't be quite as bad as perhaps is predicted, certainly by financiers. And we know why that is, of course, because of the pandemic. But let's also have a look at what our Aquarian new moon is about. All right, so okay, Aquarius. Well, Aquarius, you are the stars of the show. And, you know, it's very interesting because at the moment we have 6 planets in the sign of Aquarius. I found this interesting because the last time this happened was in 1962. And that was the kind of beginning of the hippy sort of make love, not war era. So it was very much about peace and love, you know, make love, not war. And Aquarius does have this quality to it. It's very much about thinking outside the box and being quite new age and thinking about things on a much more collective scale. So the fact that we have 6 planets there really kind of underlines that there is a huge desire, and this was the word I picked up for this new moon. There's a huge desire for freedom. Now, on one level, we know that. For the countries that are experiencing quite serious lockdowns, it's very challenging that there's so much restriction, even though it is ultimately for a good end. But some countries are, like here in Malta, we have slightly more lenient restrictions, and so it's not quite so bad, and I'm blessed to live here. But let's just look at what this new moon's about, because first of all, again, Aquarius is the sign of the water bearer. Now, I find that interesting because then you'd think, oh, well, it must be a water sign, but it's not. It's an air sign. And air is about thought, freedom. It's kind of no boundaries. It's really flying free. And yet Aquarius is an air sign, but it's fixed. So there are sort of limits to the Aquarian expansiveness that comes with Uranus, its ruler, and Uranus's ability to upset the apple cart. The other interesting thing that I found out when I was doing some research about Aquarius is the glyph for Aquarius is 2 wavy lines. And again, you would think water bearer, that must be waves of water, but it's not. Is it waves of air? Well, I don't think so. Waves of electricity, perhaps, because Aquarius is about electronic gadgetry and electricity. But I read a really interesting part of a book by an astrologer called Stephen Forrest, and he's written a beautiful book called The Inner Sky, which is all about astrology and a really great way to kind of introduce yourself to it if you want to find out more. And what he suggests is that the wavy lines actually represent the serpent, and that it goes back to the original sin in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve, and that Eve had to have been an Aquarian because she rebelled. She thought outside the box, and she did that rebellious act, coaxed on and tempted by the serpent, and bit into the apple from the tree of knowledge. And then, of course, we know what happened. They had to leave paradise and the Garden of Eden, and here we are. So there is something about Aquarius that is very unconventional, and Eve certainly was an unconventional woman. So we may see at the moment, if we bring it all back now to this new moon, that we may see a lot of rebellious energy around. And there could be news that comes out which is quite extreme, that is shocking. Bearing in mind we have Mercury currently retrograde in Aquarius, my sense is that news that perhaps has been sort of held back from the public could suddenly be exposed, and it could come out in the next 2 weeks, sort of following this new moon. So we're seeing this energy erupting around the globe already. And that's happening with Uranus in Taurus is also making this hard angle to Saturn, our planet of restriction, in Aquarius. Now, what does this mean? And why is it relevant to the new moon? Well, what this means is that we are already seeing around the world disruption, disruptive behaviour. People, the general public, are getting restless and tired of the old ways of authority, of government. And we've already seen rebellious acts against this. And with this Saturn-Uranus energy around this new moon, I do feel the new moon could see within the next couple of weeks a surge of that kind of rebellious behaviour again. There's a lot more I could say about this, but I really have to keep quiet because what I feel could unfold with this energy may just cause a little bit of a stir, and I really don't want to throw sort of, if you like, oil on fire, because it could potentially be quite explosive, this kind of energy. So what else is going on? So also also the other thing I think that we might see comes up around this new moon energy and the Mercury that is squaring Mars is more discussion and quite angry discussion around all the conspiracy theories that exist. And, you know, this could also coincide because Jupiter is there with big news being revealed, which is, you know, potentially quite shocking. But let's bring it down to a more personal level, because how is it going to affect you and I? Well, on a personal level, I think this new moon, and especially with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, is a great time to really try and improve our technical skills. I really feel that because Aquarius is such a big player this year, and because of the restrictions we've all had to face, we have all been put in a corner in a sense and forced to have to make ourselves far more technological or technologically savvy. And if we haven't been able to do this, then we're in danger of getting left behind. And so my sense is that if you're not really up to speed and you're not using tablets and smartphones and computers, then this really is a time when you need to actually take yourself into that world. And if you don't understand it, if you don't know, ask for help. And I really feel, and I you know, implore, if you like, everyone out there who does understand how it all works to show people that really can't quite get it and can't quite see how to do it. I mean, one of the things I've found out as I've kind of self-taught myself and also from being shown how to do things is often I make it far too complicated and it's actually simpler than I realise. And I don't know about anyone else out there, but sometimes I'm frightened to sort of press certain things on all these devices in case everything disappears. So I think somehow it's about trying and doing it, and that actually if we think in a more simple way with it, it'll probably work better. So that's just from my own personal experience and a kind of fear of the technology. But, you know, I'm really doing well at trying to make it all work now. So also with this energy, this is a really great time to start looking at and thinking, what would you like to manifest in the future? What would you like to bring into your working life? How would you like to change your career? Are you doing the career or the life purpose that excites you, that you're passionate about? Because if you're not, why not? Because if we're doing something we're really passionate about, it doesn't seem like work. And so even if it's something you can start alongside whatever is your sort of main money-making part, it's so important to be working with and doing things that we're passionate about. Hopefully you can see how passionate I am about astrology. And, you know, it doesn't feel like hard work in any sense to me. And I am constantly striving to learn more and to upgrade my skills and learn how to do these kind of presentations to the best of my ability in a better way. And I'm learning all the time. And I'm sure I'll look back in a year's time and think, oh my God, what was I thinking? And will have refined the way I sort of present them even better. So you need to think about what projects are you absolutely passionate about that you could launch with this energy. What could you know, sometimes we procrastinate. We sit back and we think, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow. It's okay. I'll do it tomorrow. But you know what? Tomorrow doesn't come. And I was watching a YouTube video recently about how we cope with procrastination. And one of the things is to do one small thing every day, however small, towards achieving your goal. So whatever your sort of dream is that you want to manifest, just do one thing, or create that vision board, or, write something down that says, what I'm going to do. Think of a structure for the project that you want to launch. Maybe you want to start a new career. Really look into that at the moment, because this new moon energy is really inviting you to do that and to think outside the box. It's about taking things that you're passionate about to the sort of the general public, to put it out there on the sort of the world stage. So write the book, write the play, produce the YouTube video, launch your new career, launch your life coaching career, whatever it is that you want to do. Be the homeopath you've always wanted to be. Be the IT or tech person that you've always wanted to be. There's so much scope there. So before I move on to looking at what's happening for you each individually, of course, this new moon coincides also not only with the Chinese New Year tomorrow, but with Valentine's Day on Sunday. So I did think it might be just interesting to have a quick look at what the energy is for Valentine's Day and how it's going to affect us. Well, hey, guess what? We have a lot of restrictions. And that is because my two big boys, Saturn, planet of restriction, holding back boundaries, Uranus, technology, surprise, innovation, they are really having a bit of a tug of war between each other. So that's not hugely helpful. So how can we make it helpful? Well, I would suggest, if you're not actually living with your beloved, if they're at a distance, there is absolutely no way you can't have a really lovely internet evening with them. I've done this with, a beloved of mine, where you lay the table and you have the Prosecco or champagne even, the wine, the chocolates, you cook a lovely meal. And do you know, it's really interesting, and I'm sure a lot of you know this now, that, you're probably having Skype coffees, Zoom coffees with your girlfriends, that after a while you don't even realise that you're talking to someone who isn't there, because they're in another country or another town on your tablet or your laptop. And, it can really work. So there are ways that we can work around all these current restrictions and really make it a memorable event. And of course, if you are with your beloved and you're living together, one thing I really would suggest, just make it a nice, gentle, lovely time together and don't get into anything too deep. Now, why am I saying that? Well, this is because Mars is squaring Mercury. Not a good aspect. Mars is anger, energy, can be aggression. Mercury's retrograde. Whatever you say at this time, especially if it's in your sort of romantic relationship, will probably come back to haunt you. And it really isn't the best time to dig down deep into why the relationship may not be as you want it or working as best you could have it. It's just not a good time for those deep, in-depth talks. So just keep it light. Just make it nice and romantic and just, wait for another time when the energy is better if you want to sort out your relationship. Okay, now, with no further ado, let's move on to the individual signs and how this new moon is specifically going to affect you. And just to let you know that the new moon here in Europe hasn't actually become exact yet. In Central Europe, it becomes exact at 2004. So we've got a bit longer before the new moon will actually appear. Okay, Aries, are you ready? So Aries, you seem to be very eager with this new moon to launch a new idea. It's probably a very good idea. I'm sure you've given it a lot of thought, but there may be hidden costs or hidden costs to pay. Now, sometimes something we have to pay isn't always money. So just look at what the payoff is. What's the cost to you, either financially, health-wise, relationship-wise, work-wise, because that could cause you some problems. You're going to have to work out what that is, Aries. Okay, Taurus. Okay, Taurus. Well, you are being a busy bee, and with Uranus in your sign, you're just changing by the minute, and people are not seeing the fixed bull so much as a bull that is really raring to go. And this new moon could see a new path opening up on your career path. And it will be challenging. It will be tough work, hard work. But you know what, Taurus? You have got what it takes, so go for it. Gemini. Well, you have a lot of new ideas about what you would like to do, but these new ideas are probably getting challenged by others. And because your ruling planet, Mercury, is currently retrograde, it's just asking you to just hold back on what you might want to say. So you need to be mindful of harsh words and try to just adapt a bit more to the changes that are around at the moment, and don't get too caught up in them. So let's move on to Cancer. And if I do miss anyone out, just send me a little message. It will pop up on my screen and I can come back and do it at the end. But I think I've got it cracked this week. I've put big spaces and big letters. Okay, Cancer, before I forget. Okay, so you've also got an idea that you want to launch. And it's something that will require some financial backing. And I think if you present this in the right way to either an investor or to your partner, if it's to do with joint finances, you might find you actually get the support that you want. So ask away, Cancer. Leo. So Leo, the focus for you has really, really shifted into your close personal relationships. And that can be significant other like soulmate, partner, lover, husband, wife. It can also be very close people in your life, okay? It can be business partners as well. But the energy of this new moon, which is in your 7th house of relationships, so of very significant relationships, it's bringing unexpected opportunities. And it's opportunities within the current relationship, if you're in one, to change it into a much better way. And the other thing that could happen is that if you are single and you are open to the possibility of meeting someone new, you could actually meet someone quite out of the blue, and maybe that'll be online. Okay, so Virgo. Well, Virgo, if you've been feeling a little bit restricted and need to sort of get out there and flex your muscles a bit, then this is a great time to start a new exercise regime. And I think you're going to be finding your voice. I can hear Virgos going, and another thing. I haven't finished yet. I'm going to because anything that has been annoying you secretly, I think you're going to find your voice with this new moon. It might be that you're writing it down, as it's Aquarius, so it can be internet and writing and stuff. Right, so let's move on to Libra. Well, Libra, I don't know how you're doing it, because you just seem to be sailing through this Aquarian energy and coming up with new and innovative ideas all the time of how to enjoy yourself and play and have fun. And somehow you're just kind of not getting bound by the restrictions and really just saying, it's okay, I can rise above this and I'm still going to do my thing. Well, Libra, if it's working for you, actually, great. Okay, so Scorpio. Scorpio, this new moon is encouraging you to start afresh with your home and family, and to smooth out any wrinkles there might be in family relationships. It's really about starting new things with family and relationships. And there may have been some difficulties or tough words, and I feel that this new moon is just saying, look, keep calm, it will change, just try a new way of approaching it. That's what I feel it is for you, Scorpio. Sagittarius. So I think this new moon is going to get you thinking about new ways to connect with your sort of community and your local community, because you may have felt that you've been very absorbed in other things and personal stuff, and aware that you have perhaps in a way neglected some of your friends. So maybe you need to set up some Zoom parties or Zoom coffees or Zoom drinkies, but something of the nature like that, Sagittarius, to really just reconnect. And Capricorn. Okay. So this new moon for you, Capricorn, is really encouraging you to take some money risks, especially if they involve anything online. I just think you should keep your ears open and your eyes wide open to potential investments, because it would be a good time to actually think about making investments which could really bring long-term benefits, even though you know, the economic stability of the world is going to be a little bit uncertain for a few years. I think that there are a lot of areas that one could invest in, and I probably shouldn't really be saying this, but I actually feel that anything that is green and anything that is technology is probably going to do super well. Okay, Aquarius, so this is your new moon, and you really are stars of the show at the moment, because you've got 6 planets in your sign. So you must be really feeling it, and I think you're really, you know, chomping at the bit and raring to go with innovative changes to how people experience you. And there may be a part of you that just wants to cut your hair and dye it pink, or a new outfit or anything, or just change the way you look. There seems to be, I think, something about Aquarius here that does want to break out, break through, and do something a little bit like Eve biting into the apple from the tree of knowledge, you know, just kind of, you know, hello world, here I am. And I think you just have to make sure that if you do decide to make some quite drastic or radical changes to your way of life or the way you look, that you can handle the comments. And now finally we come on to Pisces. I say finally, but you know, Pisces, we're coming up to your time, because you know the sun is going to move into Pisces not before long. And I feel for you this new moon, because it's in your 12th house, which is very much the part of the zodiac which is about the inner you, your kind of psyche, your how you think on a very deep level. This new moon is waking you up on a deep level, and I think it's helping you find your voice. I think finally, Pisces, you're going to be saying it how it is. You could potentially shock people with the depth of your feeling and insight about a lot of things. They may be personal, they may be on a wider scale, they may be to do with your work or personal relationships. But Pisces don't want to stay quiet any longer. And that energy is going to be around for quite a while. So I really feel, Pisces, you are going to be changing so dramatically over the next couple of years with the energy that is going on in this part of your chart. So, okay, that really brings us to the close for this Aquarian new moon. And I'd really like to say thank you so much for joining me this evening. I can see a lot of you have been watching, and thank you so much, all of you. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Nice comments, please, because some of the comments I get are unrepeatable. Block and delete is my process. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to say au revoir for now, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for coming. Bye for now.